Hello everyone, welcome to Raising Vibrations. This is Simon. Today everyone, I'm going to be sharing with you my thoughts and reflections upon Neptune going direct. It happened yesterday, November the 18th. And also just sharing with you some of the knowledge that I have regarding how I work as an astrologer regarding Neptune. Just sharing with you my consciousness and how that actually operates. So I hope everybody's well and you've experienced to a certain degree a really good transition in the Neptune direct. I personally feel it hasn't really been one of those amazing Neptune direct experiences. I suppose a part of me feels that there has been a lift of fogginess, but at the same time I've noticed that quite a lot of souls have actually experienced a feeling of loss, or at least an absence of inspiration, which is the complete opposite of it. But nevertheless, this is what's the case. So Neptune is in Pisces, as you know, and what I want to really convey with regards to this Neptune direct experience is some of the ways that you can interact with this energy and how you understand it going forward. All right. So if you're looking for information about what does it do, etc., and that this is not really the video for you, but if you're interested in actually seeing how this archetype unfolds and how you can take best advantage of it in terms of how it's operating in your life, then of course this is definitely something that will give you a lot of information. So Neptune, as I said, is in Pisces at this stage. It's been there since 2011. And it transited out of it and during this retrograde period of time, but now it's fully into Pisces, and this is a big deal, to be honest. Many of you out there that have watched the world come to this awakening experience. To me personally, I believe it's Uranus and Pluto and Neptune that are really correlating to this shift. And Neptune's story, pardon me, in this whole experience is our relationship to our consciousness. Okay, and so of course there's going to be the energy of Pisces involved here, and that's about culmination. Okay, the best way that I can explain Pisces to you is this process of how one of the major aspects that can be understood from Pisces is when you read a book. In the beginning of the book you have a sense of Aries, right? You're just about to start this experience, and you dive into it, you learn all the archetypes, you experience everything, and you come out the other side, and what you do is you close the book, and as you close the book you summarize and extract all the knowledge and experiences that you've got from it, and then that becomes a part of you. So Pisces is the process of completion and assimilation of information, okay, or knowledge or experience. So with Neptune moving through Pisces and now moving into a direct motion again, there has been, for the last at least, four years, a process of going back and forth regarding what are we completing. Okay, so a big deal of us, or a big part of us that have incarnated at this period of time would have obviously had past lives in which there is a necessity for completion. And so right now, individually amongst everybody, we're going through completion cycles. We're going through the lifting of a veil, as it were, and an opening of more spiritual meaning. But I feel like this Neptune direct has really been affected by the opposition to Jupiter, and especially that, Jupiter, even though it is actually only making an opposition to Chiron at this stage, is going to be, still in its opposition to Pisces or to Neptune for at least the year. Okay, the next year that's coming up, at least up until I would say maybe May or April, May, June, around about that period of time. And of course, whenever there's a planet in opposition to another planet, there's a necessity for balance. So you've got the Virgo Pisces axis here, and we're dealing with a lot of awakenings within ourselves regarding healing. Now I've moved over from this completion archetype to healing, and what's really important here to also recognize is a lot of souls, particularly the Pluto and Virgo generation, your polarity point of your Pluto is actually in Pisces. So of course, this Neptune through Pisces transit is going to be very influential for you. This is the souls that were born between 1957 and 1972. Okay, a lot of your own awakening is going to occur at this period of time. The Pluto and Leo generation, which were born 1935 or something to that 1957, you're actually going through what is called or Neptune is in conjuncting your Pluto at this stage. I don't want to get too much into that detail, but the point I'm trying to make is that each of us during this period of time have got some significant alignment occurring with Neptune, and it's in Pisces. And there are deep needs to recognize that there's completion here. So surrender or let it be kind of consciousness. We're learning how to, on a larger cycle, complete a transition from the Kali Yuga to Tetra Yuga, or the Pisces to Aquarian age. These larger cycles, again, which we won't get into because it's a very big subject. But completion and then healing. Like, what is healing? Self-acceptance of your spiritual journey. Many of us come into this lifetime with deep feelings, seated feelings of lack of love or self-hatred, which are not actually associated with the human condition in the sense that we understand it as. It's actually just imprinting that has come through maybe matrix, information to keep people suppressed, lifetimes of slavery and such. So this is a period of time with Neptune moving through Pisces for us to become closer to our connection within ourselves, okay? To deepen our sense of holistic attitude towards the world, which is why the unity consciousness is erupting, but also for us to, in ourselves, as I said, now coming back to our own personal feelings, like close the gap between the lower part of our bodies and the higher part of our bodies, and align the chakras, or align the story, or allow yourself to actually feel wholeness within yourself, okay? Neptune, completion. And I talk about these statements, and I make these kind of words as I go along regarding wholeness and stuff, but what I really want to do is actually amplify what that means so that you can use this practically in your life. For me, I use the Neptune. Neptune is all about inspiration. Pisces is all about inspiration. So you either got two ways. You're either divinely inspired or you lack inspiration. And what happens here is that our lives change. Neptune correlates to the dissolving of reality. And the reason why that's the case is because when you are inspired with something, you are creating a reality, you're infused in it, you're experiencing what is called God or source, or however you wish to define it. And it's really, really feeling like you've got lots of colors in your life. And yet, at the same time, if you lose inspiration or a feeling of like go and motivation, the reality starts to decay. And that's natural because, of course, you're not feeding it with your own intuitive and divine feeling of connection to it. So decay and dissolving is a Neptune Pisces archetypal, but particularly Neptune. So when we go through transits, like Neptune transits, we're always going to come out the other side like totally different to what we went in with. And we don't even know that that's the case until we get to the other side. Like, it's that crazy. So humanity at this point in time is actually going through this interesting experience where the whole entire reality that we existed within before has collapsed in on itself. Pluto and Capricorn, systems are dying, things are changing, and so on and so forth. And there's a collapsing, there's a folding, there's a returning to the process, okay? And as that occurs, or an involution, as it were, it collapses in on itself. As that occurs, we start to then regrow a new reality from that. Now, what's really interesting at the moment, especially when you look at the outside world and what is occurring there, there's a lot of illusion and deception that's obviously taking place. And that's another Neptune thing, Illusion and deception is very much a Neptune thing. Because, and I explain it to you like this. Whenever so you've got Saturn, you've got Uranus, and you've got Neptune, okay? Or Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn. So we look at the body, and we understand that there's a physical vehicle. We can sense it with our phi ratio body, our ego, and or our senses. That can be Saturn, okay? Then you have Uranus, which is the kind of higher mind. This is the part of ourselves where our thoughts come about, our ideas, etc. And this part of us is also very much detached from the physical body in that sense, okay? If you really want to get technical over here, it's got to do with the electrical system. And so then also what we have is then we have Pisces, and that is like the dream world. That is, as I said before, the inspiration, the dream. So what happens here, the reason why Pisces correlates to illusion is because when we go through circumstances and situations that are not favorable to us, we internalize as not favorable, or an accident, what happens is that we detach from, especially trauma, we detach from the physical body, Saturn, and then stay in a state of observation, traumatized in that way, or away from it, we've detached. And then what we need to do is, in this space, we need to go one step further and move into a space of alternate reality, Pisces. And so, of course, as this happens, when we go through this experience, we are then in a reality that is not of the one that's in the physical, and we're kind of numbing the pain, as it were, and this detachment process takes place. So, of course, many of us that are on this planet at this point in time are unaware that a lot of the cycles that we play out in our stories, in our lives, in our consciousness can actually be past life experiences that we don't know we haven't actually completed. So this is what I mean about completion. Now, the only way to really access this stuff is if you're going to go through past life regression, or you're going to have spontaneous awakenings or realizations, or you're going to spend quite a lot of part of your life reflecting upon actions that you look at and go, does this seem to be rational? And this is, of course, the polarity point of Pisces, which is Virgo. So we need this very clear self-analysis and discernment about how is this interacting with reality right now versus a potential reaction or a wounding or a traumatized state that is stuck in a past life, i.e. a different timeline that is influencing this consciousness or this sense of identity. I mean, I've gone way out now, so sorry, guys. But you understand what's happening over here in terms of the stream of consciousness. Neptune in itself will then be that relationship to being in a different world, as it were, or in a different timeline, and having your self-identity play out these roles as if you're here in this reality, but actually it's just another lifetime bleeding into the consciousness of this part of you right now. So completion, self-analysis, and illusions and delusions could occur. Examples that I could give you in real life are people like George Bush, for instance. There's a part of me that strongly feels that a lot of his soul has reincarnated into this lifetime, still living out the Roman Empire type days. So, they believe that they're leaders, they believe that they can conquer and fight everything with war. In fact, most all of us on this planet play out certain roles where a part of us is still stuck in a different timeline. So it's actually quite visceral, and a movie called Inception is a great example of understanding Neptune as well. Because again, it's like the dream inside of a dream inside of a dream. When you wake up to reality, you recognize that you're actually dreaming, and you're dreaming inside of a dream. So this whole entire reality that I'm living right now, that you're living right now, is just a collection of archetypes infused in a physical sense. And you play out these archetypes, and as you play them out, it creates certain realities around you that then you interact with. And what is occurring with this process is that you need to apply Virgo discernment regarding these realities that you're interacting with, so that you're understanding where you have been separated, duality. And this is again the process of having to go through your lives, or through your stories within your life using astrology, to be able to bring back more of your essence that has been fractured all over the place. So again, when I say self-healing, when I say self-acceptance, when I say completion, it's about returning the fragmented past aspects of self and psyche that are lingering in different aspects and dimensions of reality, and into a sense of alignment. Okay. And that is hard work, man. That is difficult work to be able to consistently keep doing that. So at the moment, there's been a collective, and this is what I was alluding to when I said that this Neptune direct wasn't really as wonderful as what we could have had it to be, because really it was just going, come on guys, let's incarnate. And what I mean by incarnate, I mean fully integrate your sense of identity of who you are, not just your physical sense and that deadened part of you, but what inspires you, man, who brings you out into the world and says, this is why I'm here, type of thing. So this Neptune direct process was asking people to incarnate in that way, Jupiter and Virgo, bringing in, showing up, basically. But because of the overwhelming sense of fear that is being perpetuated in the world, the consistent bombardment through news media telling you the world is not changing, we're looking at the outside world going, what's the point? And so we go back to sleep. And so this is something that I'm really scared of at this stage, is that many people are moving through this transition right now of feeling completely and utterly, like you woke up, but at some point you're going to start losing faith again. And you're going to incarnate less and less until eventually you're back in the same cycle again, just, pineal gland shut down, etc. And you're assimilated back into the field. So this is a really important Neptunian wake-up call to say, guys, we do need to actually understand that the next cycle regarding our spiritual activation, our spiritual story is actually growing up, Jupiter and Virgo, in ways where we never felt could be possible. And that means also bringing more of ourselves into our centeredness. It means actually stepping into the role that you have worked so hard for with Jupiter and Leo, and paying a lot of attention to what your story is about, and healing yourself. Healing yourself is recognizing your story and going through it and understanding the importance of your journey, and really allowing yourself to then, when you do that, when you heal yourself, when you go through the inner work and you journey and you recognize what's going on there, and you're healing your duality that is existing inside of yourself, you're surrendering to it, then what happens will naturally occur, or should I say what naturally occurs, is a sense of waking up, feeling inspired to be that living entity or vibration that you feel is important and as a part of you. So as we move through this timeline, Neptune, from a more spiritual, internal, singular perspective, it is about showing up, and showing up based on what you can anchor more into the physical senses, okay, of your beingness. Like, what do you hold to be true? What is your story, and how do you live that viscerally? How do you dream it in that way as well? Okay. Some of the things that I wanted to really share regarding Neptune, which is a little bit more mundane in that sense. Of course, we're looking at a Virgo Pisces transition right now, as in the nodal axis is now in Virgo Pisces, and so that will be crossing Neptune. This is a big deal for us because, of course, as we move through this timeline, a lot of us are going to have to deal with the outside world sharing tons and tons of information that is completely and utterly false. So we're going to get overwhelmed with a lot of stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if you're feeling overwhelmed at this stage. Maybe not. It depends, to be honest, where you are in the world and what you're doing. But feeling overwhelmed can definitely be a part of this process. The opportunity there was something I wanted to say really that was sitting over here, and I needed to speak about. I can't think of it at this stage, so it will come back to me. It was regarding the Neptune and Saturn square. Yes, Neptune and Saturn are the archetypes of spiritual incarnation. And the reason why, again, as I said, is because if you had to look at the cycle that I showed you, which was Saturn, Uranus, Pisces, if you had to go through the detachment and then trauma signature, or sort of say healing of the Saturn, then Uranus, or Aquarius, which will correlate to the detachment, and then the alternate state of reality, Neptune, in that way, or checking out, basically. So that's what I was really trying to say, is that we've checked out. And so Neptune and Saturn, as the archetypes of spiritual story, is checking in. You're bringing your consciousness back in. You're bringing your story back in. You're filling up your cup again. So that was what I wanted to say regarding that. Neptune and Saturn are actually squaring each other at this stage again. And this is a big deal, I think, as well, for many souls that have literally just liberated themselves from the confinements of their own judgments and criticisms and sense of lack and feelings of inadequacy and patriarchal conditioning, which I suppose we're all still, dealing with at this stage. This Saturn-Neptune archetype is really, really bringing together the sense of community in terms of wholeness. Like, so, choose love instead of fear. That would be that process, okay? So we're infusing a new reality with the square, but there's a part of me that also feels it's really important to watch out for the deception, okay? The moments that there is a duality existing in reality, in other words, you've got Putin over here situated going blah, blah, blah to the world saying he's exposing these things. And then you have these guys over here that he's exposing. There is still duality. Okay, there's still a separation. Now, I'm still trying to figure out how to see through this at this stage, because there's a part of me that also feels like it seems like a grand play to get people to go, the change is occurring, which then resets the matrix again, which then just puts everybody back into the same space again. There's still one world government. There's still, the sense of hierarchy. It's just a little bit more subtle in the sense that it's more Aquarian. So this Neptune square Saturn thing over here, especially in Sag and Pisces, I think we've got to really be careful about understanding the lies that are occurring. And we've got to focus on that. Something else that's occurring with this Neptune square Saturn is also the migration, the mass migration that's being put out into the world. I live in Sweden, so I can see that, of course, just in my hometown over here, there's souls that have come from Syria that now are seeking refugee here. And there's a part of me that knows that there are a lot of there's a lot of information that's being shared on the internet at this stage that is not the truth regarding what's actually happening here, and it kind of sucks a little bit to watch the dishonesty that humanity has and still is perpetuating at this stage. It's like, it's really, really bad, because the way you think about it is that a lot of, or at least from my opinion, a lot of these souls are arriving here because their own home has been taken away, or circumstances and situations have been so graphic for them. And they're probably in that Saturn, Aquarius, Neptune process of detachment and trauma, and then, alternate reality. Imagine if I just said to you right now, sorry, you've just got to move. Like, let's just, you take your shoes, you take something with you, and you're out of here. Imagine the discomfort that you would experience at this stage. But because we're so desensitized, Neptune and Pisces, from the experience, we don't really bat an eyelid when we recognize that it's over there. So that's the issue. And guys, I want to make it really, really, really clear here. This is not a judgment on anybody. I'm not telling everybody to feel shitty about themselves. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying that at this stage, we've really got to understand the idea of choosing love instead of fear, or choosing unity consciousness, because it's so easy to say it, but do we actually live it? Neptune in Pisces and the nodal axis in Virgo. Are we incarnating these truths that we represent? Are we actually playing the game the way that we mentally are playing the game? Are you living in alignment with these things? And so it becomes a whole new ball game. So this is what I'm talking about when I say, like, at the moment, much of the planet at this stage gone through an awakening, but how much of us are actually incarnating the awakening into us? Because that becomes now adept. We're now going to start playing the game here regarding our spiritual stories. We've really got to put on our boots and say, I'm here, I'm showing up. This is my story, and I'm here to heal myself. I'm here to create a sense of connection with everybody. And I'm also here to recognize not some of the, but a lot of the distortions that are occurring. So it's a big subject, and maybe I'll do a live stream on this at some point where, we can spend an hour just like rifling through some of the stuff that I'm sharing with you here. But these are thoughts for everybody to ponder and to feel into, including myself. I never ever see myself as different when I'm sharing this video. So again, coming back to what I was talking about regarding the square, the Neptune square, it's important for us to to recognize as well that as we transition into this new era of reality that we are living in at this point in time. So Pluto destroyed structure, Uranus has created liberation, Neptune's now allowing us to find new inspiration in these things and culminate old things and etc. etc. Well, the Neptune square is obviously, Neptune square Saturn is obviously saying to us, especially in Sag and Pisces, these are the archetypes of intuition, for us to have to feel our way through. We've got to now start feeling our way through this story. Like, we've got to try new things. So even my YouTube channel in itself has been an experiment for me, because I've tried different things out and I've learned more about how I am and what I do. And I've found myself really, really inspired to recognize how much more of a connection to my soul I'm actually manifesting through being very brave with regards to some of the choices I'm making, not only on YouTube, but also on other formats as well. So, and it's just like kind of going out and trying it out, and then it's working, no, it's not working, that's not what's needed, and kind of just allowing the XY axis to become a little bit more clearer until eventually it hits the bullseye like that. At least for me, I'm sharing with you my own personal story regarding the square, like just feeling your way through, becoming more intuitive, sensory orientated. So yeah, what else do I have to share regarding this this experience, this archetype? Nope, that's it. That's all there is. What I'm going to do for you, everyone, is once you've watched this video, I'm going to put a link at the top over here and in the description below to a video that is on a Neptune teaching. And really, I just want to kind of share a more visual experimentation of Neptune, so that this can be paired with this video, just so that you can also have like a way to understand Neptune as it operates within reality, okay? Stay tuned to the next video. Have a fantastic day.